Well, here I am again, everybody. Well, maybe not. Ooh. Okay, yeah, well, that's what happens. I'm kind of watching the monitor here. I've got to find out why my live stream intro continues to stop, and now I can see that I've got to make some small adjustments here so that I can get where ooh, why did I do that? Just bear with me, y'all. You know what time it is. My real true people. You know what's happening. So let me just make some small minor adjustments here, and I think I'll be okay. Oh yeah, there I am. Now let me get this thing going. Oh yeah, here we go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the swimming pool. It's SWYM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. I am your host, Travis Bridges, and this is what we do on Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? Well, I've got a good one for you tonight. I even have a guest standing by, and we're going to talk real good. I remember last week I had some issues with my system in here, and I'm always, trying to improve and maneuver and making adjustments, but I think I'm going to be all right, and things are going to be okay moving forward. I at least am going to be, temporarily permanent for a little while, and I'm just going to roll with that. And last week I was doing a lot of talking, and as soon as I ended my live stream with everything I said, I forgot to talk about my book. I've been threatening to write a book for a long time, and it's actually going to happen this year for sure. As far as my CD, the verdict is still out on that, but the book is definitely going to happen, and I didn't talk about it last week, so I'm going to say a little bit about it now before I go into this week's broadcast or live stream. I've been going through the almost final stages of editing the book, and I'm listening to some of the stuff that I wrote a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, and it is really interesting. Some things I want to edit and make some minor adjustments to, but pretty much the mindset and the emotions that I was experiencing then, even up until now, is just interesting. I'm kind of biting my nails going, am I sure I want to release this stuff? Because when you release a book in the form that I'm releasing it, it's a documentary kind of sort of, or what do you call it? Autobiography, so to speak. I said a documentary. I didn't mean that. It's autobiography sort of. It talks about my life, my childhood, why I am the way I am. And it's going to be interesting, and I'm excited about it. So with that being said, I'm going to get moving right on. I have a guest, but before I bring my guest on, I want to read my my description before I get into it. And let me just try to find it. Here we go. It says something went wrong. I don't know. Seems like I'm still on. So this is it. Oh no, that's not. I can't do that. Just be patient with me. Y'all know what time it is. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate it. It's going to get better. Let's see. Here we go. My channel. And this is what's coming up. And it's this. I don't want to go on though, do I? No. So I need, okay, here we go. Yeah, I've got it now. Thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it. I'm going to read the description, and it goes like this here. The harsh reality that we will protect our own agenda is reality within itself. Just as a mother would and does protect her child, even when we are wrong, so will we protect our own interests. It happens, it's real, and there's nothing much, or there's not much anyone can do about it without digging really deep. It's a unique instinct to deflect. Things get hot when it's time to be honest. We can always see fault and judge others easily, but it takes a normal person to see the dirt on ourselves and/or the beam in our own eye. Okay, with that being said, let me just pull my other stuff up right here, and I'm going to call my guest on. Guest, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, awesome. Let me hear you say 1, 2, 3 so I can make sure I have a really good level.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, that's really good. Thank you so much for joining me, particularly at the last minute. It really means a lot to me. And this is going to be an easy one. I said I was going to take it easy on you. You've never been on my live stream before, and I appreciate it. I bring this live stream kind of sort of for therapy for myself. It's called SWYM, SWYM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. And I think it's important to say what we mean and mean what we say. It has to do with listening, hearing, listening to what the, whoever we're communicating with, what they have to say, making sure that they're saying what they mean as well as we are saying what we mean, making sure that they understand what we're saying as well as what we mean. And after we've discussed all of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and all the details, we then determine how we move forward. This is necessary, particularly when there's disagreements and or chaos. Very seldom in situations, when there's chaos or disagreement, people reach a reasonable resolve because things get in the way, like our personal interest, our own personal beliefs, what we think, what we feel, our emotions, our feelings. And there's nothing wrong with that because that's why we have, emotions and feelings. But we have to know how to channel them, particularly in chaos. I am a firm believer that there's an answer to every question and a resolution to every problem. And before I say anything else, do you at least agree with that? Do you agree that there's an answer to every question and a resolution to every problem? Yes or no?
Yes.
You do, and thank you for that. Okay, with that being said, what I want to do is talk about what happens when we're having to investigate situations that are hard. It could be in our home, it could be on our job, it could be, in line, at the grocery store. If you're sitting at, a parking spot with your signal on and someone comes around the corner and either they see you or they don't see you and you're waiting on that spot and then they pull into it, that's not cool, is it?
No, that is so annoying.
Yeah, that's annoying, and it happens all the time. And then when the two people get out the car and they're fussing and fighting, the person who took the parking space, they won't say, well, yeah, I saw you there, but I beat you to it. They'll say what they feel or what they think or what they believe, when in a true rational situation, or we would say, okay, yeah, you're sitting there, you're waiting, you got there first, your signal was on. Just because my car was faster than yours and I was, I had the jump, I took the parking space. And somehow or another, they will justify that and believe that, okay, that they did what's right. And I believe in these filters when there's chaos. There's universal principles, things that we cannot change. There's points of reference, things that have been established in society. And then there's law, when you're trying to reach a resolution. So in that case, if I was, a bystander and I saw that happen and I had to be the one to put my input, I would say, yes, you did beat the person to the parking space. And in some cases, maybe the first come, first serve. But, there's something called decency, respect, and courtesy and consideration. This person was sitting there, they beat you there, they had their signal on, you saw that, but you used that rationale instead of, what would be considered a reasonable expectation. Okay, so I'm doing a whole lot of talking. I'm going to let you talk. What are your thoughts about a situation where someone will have the opportunity to be reasonable and respectful and will bypass that and go with what fits their agenda? What are your thoughts about that?
It's funny that you should mention about the parking situation. I was at a grocery store a few weeks ago, and this young man, I clearly had my lights on, had my signal on, waiting, and I always back in. And as I turned to back in, he just cuts in and parked his car and got out. And I look at him and I blow the horn and I'm motioning to him, didn't you see my car? And I know he saw the car, and I don't want to offend anyone, but I noticed lately that people are very selfish. They think that they're entitled to anything and everything. It doesn't matter who have what they need. They feel like they should do anything to take it from you. There's no more respect, and it's terrible. The millennials feel as if they are entitled, and I am just appalled at some of the behavior that I'm seeing from even the older people. My age and older are doing some of the same things. So how do we fix this?
Well,
Yeah.
was that a question or were you just saying that? Because I definitely want to answer.
Well, you could take it as a question then. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm not sure if there's a way to fix it because I said it's a unique, a unique thing, as I read it in the description. But I think what I'm doing is kind of sort of bringing awareness to that. Sometimes if we're not conscious of where we are or what we're doing, that is the kind of, energy we will portray, at home or on our job or, in the streets or wherever. And, your question, how do you fix it? I'm not sure if there's a way to fix it, but if we start talking about it, first of all, adopt, the idea that there is an answer, to every question. There is a solution, to every problem, and being able to reason and ration. I like to say I'm not religious at all, but I do know a little bit about the Bible, and one of my favorite passages in the Bible talks about, being able to reason together. We have to be able to reason, and I guess that's why there is a court system, to hash out things. I found out recently that the law and the truth are two totally different things, and I actually, after being an old man now, I get that. The law and the truth are different. That's a whole nother the live stream. But I understand why there is a justice system for you to be able to go through the process to get to the truth. But the law has to have a place. That's why I said there's universal principles, there's points of references, and there's something they call evidence and proof and all that stuff. That's, court and law language. But we have to be able to be open to reason. And the hardest thing I think to do is to remove our personal agenda out the way. You cannot not be selfish in some things, but when it's time to resolve, find a solution, or diminish chaos, you have to breathe, you have to count to 10, you have to listen to the opposing side, you have to allow someone to listen to you, remain calm and cool, and I think that is a good way to get to a resolution. And your question is, how do you fix it? Well, you fix it by talking about it, taking some deep breaths, and just being okay and not being selfish and mean and nasty.
Right.
And I want to say something on that note. I'm a really big guy. I've been working and training out a lot lately, and I've been talking about my 75 hard, and I'm in phase 1 right now. It's, my audience may know what I'm talking about. But I look at how strong I've gotten in terms of my endurance with the running, and even now being able to go up the flights of stairs that I take on some days, and even doing the strength training, how I'm growing. But as a big, strong guy, and I'm grateful to God, that I have the strength, to do some of the things that I do. There's a part of me that's very sensitive, and I really do have a tender heart. Don't get me wrong. If you cross me, you're going to get what's coming to you. I don't start trouble. I'm not a troublemaker. I believe in finding peace. And if you, like I said, when it's time for me to get down, I'm going to get down, period.
So you're more like a gentle giant.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take that title for the sake of making my point. I believe in reasoning. And it's been bothering me lately with some of the things I'm seeing. And, I don't know, I don't know how much time I have left on this earth. And I'm not trying to go anywhere anytime soon. But there are some things I'm just not going to miss when I'm no longer here. And it is how inconsiderate, inconsistent, unaccountable, I find people being for their own agendas. And
Right.
sometimes they say, the nice guy finishes last, and that's true in some cases. I'm totally refusing to believe that, because I don't want what I see other people do to turn me callous, to make me turn me into, a bad person. But I'm just, I've developed a passion for reasoning, saying what you mean what you say, sticking to it. I like to use the example, if you tell me you're going to pick me up at 5 o'clock and at 15 after 5, you're calling me and I've been waiting since 5 till because I want to be considerate of you. You knew at 4:30 you were going to be late, but you didn't call me. It's little things like that. And that's an example of how, if I tell you, I'm going to do something, on Tuesday, and it's Saturday, and Tuesday roll around, and then I hear nothing from you, and then I call you on Wednesday, and you tell me, oh yeah, what had happened was, that kind of stuff, like, is bothering me. And I just can't do it. The older I get, and the wiser I get, and the better I get, stronger or wiser. I like to quote Marvin Sapp. I'm stronger, I'm better. It's just hard for me to not be accountable. Mind you, in my time, especially in my younger days, I've made more excuses than anyone will ever know. And I think maybe that's why I'm getting to the point where it's like, I don't like the results of what those excuses brought me and what I may have done to and for, someone else. So I'm just now finding in my golden years, to just be accountable. Let my yes be yes. Let my no be no. And do unto others as I would have them do unto me.
That's the golden rule.
Yeah. I heard one of my instructors when I went back to school after 10 years of being out of high school. I heard one of my instructors, and he wasn't re-quoting the Bible, but I think the Bible says something along the lines of do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And he gave us an example of how, maybe we're taking that out of context. And he said, okay, how about not doing unto others as you would not have them do unto you? Because the example he gave, he's like, well, what if I like this, but then, I want to then force it on you because I would do unto you as you would have you do unto me. Of course, the Bible is not wrong, and we have to be wise when we're breaking down, scripture in particular. But then I think maybe more of what it really means is, don't do things to people that is harmful. And it will, and is an inconvenience for them. So that's just where I am. And before we go any further, I want to say hello to Christine and Anthony Morrow. By the way, I've been doing this live stream for about 1.5 years now. And those are two of my good, friends who hang out, and they at least check in. I think they sneak in just to wave, to show their loyalty. And I so much appreciate it. But then I think they hit the back door, and then they leave me, because I don't see them sometimes at the end of the live stream. But I promise you, we're going to be gone in exactly 12 more minutes or so, so that I can, get to bed. I have to get up early. But, again, I want some of your thoughts on this topic, this subject, about deflecting and shying away from anything that may not fit our agendas when we're in the middle of chaos. Oh, for instance, let me give you another example. How to say it? When things happen, I don't know. Just give me your thoughts, because this could get heavy and deep, and I just want to bring awareness to why it's good to do the right thing and the best thing, even when it may not fit our own agenda and or motive. So give me some of your thoughts, and then we can go ahead and shut it down.
Oh my goodness. I was going to make a comment when you were talking about the Bible and the way people use the Bible to fit their agenda, although they know that, like you said, do unto others as you would not have them do unto you. If I don't like something done to me, I would not do it to someone else. And that's being considerate of other people's feelings. Well, nowadays, I just noticed that people are getting selfish. And that's what I see almost on a daily basis. People will do things just to benefit their own agenda. No one wants to do good. It seems as if the good guy, like you said, finished last, but that's not necessarily the fact. One thing that's very important to me is my integrity, you know, and some people don't even care about that. They're just going to do what they want to do when they want to do it and avoid the truth or avoid the right thing, as long as they're getting what they want, their satisfaction out of a situation.
And I guess, people sleep well. People that are corrupt, they find a way to sleep well. I mean, good is supposed to come to us. There's something called karma, and there's something called the law of reciprocity. And, I believe in that. I really do. But, many situations, when you find corruption, in certain situations and in people, somehow or another, they seem to just go along and just get away with it. And I guess, let me just try on that hat for a moment. Let's just say if I'm able to be corrupt, but then I don't have to worry about some of the things that most people worry about. Let's just say if I could make sure that, my household is taken care of, I have money, I have, power, I have, the ability to get, what I want. I can eat, I can dress how I want, I can drive the kind of car I want, but I have to be corrupt in order to get that. I guess, is that a good payoff? Let's just say, is that a good, if you're harming people or hurting a situation or you're not being truthful, is that good?
Karma.
No, I'm just saying it's a good trade-off.
It's not good. It's not good. That's being selfish.
Right, but especially if nobody's going to catch you. Because let me just go ahead. I have to go here. Oh my God, I didn't know I was going to run into this. There have been some times. Oh wow, this is hard to say, but I've got to say it. Let me see. I'm going to try to say it. I'm going to try to be careful. When I'm making my year-end preparations to give an account for my income, there have been times in the past, definitely not now, not in the past few years, I've now have found a way to really be a little more accountable, for that. But without saying it, I'm going to say there have been times when I've been preparing for my income accountability that I may have stretched a few things here and there. But I found out even there that, okay, you have to be a more accountable so that you don't have to stretch. And I guess this is my come to Jesus moment. I'm coming clean and saying, yeah, in the past, when I didn't know any better, I may have, when I was irresponsible and not accountable, there are things that I did, but then when you know better, you're supposed to do better. Or sometimes right. when you get the trap on your hand, you have to say, okay, no, I've got to really change how I see this and how I do this. So, I've made some adjustments and now I do sleep a little better. But I remember whenever I didn't know better, I slept just as good. Sometimes we have to be, things have to happen, to cause us to get to that point. But I'm not sure why I went on that tangent. Maybe it was confession time and it's out there now. But I just think when we know better, we need to do better. And we really need to take it, into accountability. And this wasn't anywhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. You were a pretty good, guest, and I appreciate it. I really want to give you the final and closing thoughts before I go. But before I go, I kind of want to promote myself. My book, I've been talking about it for a long time, and you may have heard me just before I brought you on. I'm talking about some of the things that I'm reading now, of my own writings from back, in the day when I first started. And it's interesting, and I'm excited. And I'm hoping that someone gets something out of it because I'm sharing a lot of stuff. So I just kind of want to let you know that I'm going to share that with you when it's time. Maybe around the last quarter of the year, I'll be ready to release. So kind of be on the watch out for it, okay? And be
Definitely.
send me some good vibes as I go through this process, because it hasn't been easy. And speaking of, being accountable, another story within itself. But anyway, your final thoughts on, facing the music, looking in the mirror, and even when it doesn't support our own interests and/or agenda, how we need to rise to the occasion for what's right and what's best, even when it may not be favorable for us. Your final thoughts on that?
My final thoughts, I've always loved this. Do what is right even when no one is looking. Treat people the way you would want to be treated, or you would want someone to treat your loved ones.
Okay, I like that. Well, again, thank you. I need you to do me a small favor, though. Now, I know this was your first time on with me, and I appreciate it. And now that you see that it's not that bad, will you come on at least one more time? Because I at least kept my word. I said, well, I'm going to let you go, before the bottom of the hour, and I'm definitely going to do that. But there are some other topics. Sometimes I need, therapy from my friends or a guest, and I like to talk about it. So there's some other topics that I'm going to talk about, and I may need you again. Will you at least, consider it or think about it, and just,
Sure.
and talk to me, brother to brother to sister, friend to friend, and just, we can just have our conversation. Remember, no one knows your name unless they recognize your voice. I don't even talk about names, but I appreciate your wholesome, input. I can tell that you're being cautious because maybe we're live. But I appreciate it. I can tell you're genuine, and I can tell you're cool, and I like that. I'd like that energy again. So, can I get you to promise me you'll come back at least one more time?
Sure.
Okay, awesome.
I will.
All right. On that
And
note,
thank you for having me.
oh, absolutely. Thank you for doing it with me. So we'll chat real soon. Have a good night. I like to tell my guests, I'm going to tell you, find somebody you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it, but mean it and show it. Okay?
Sure.
All right. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll chat soon.
You too.
All right. Good night. Well, there you have it, my friends. Thank you so much for being a part of my live stream. It's another edition of SWYM, Say What You Mean. And as we wrap it up, I want to leave you with some closing words. Sometimes we have to face the truth. We have to face reality. And it's not easy if it doesn't, represent us. We have to be able to listen. If you're in a conversation with someone and they say, hey, stop, don't keep going. If they say, hey, listen, I'm not understanding what you're saying, or what you're saying may not be accurate, don't just keep plowing through like, you're a runaway vehicle in a crowd. Don't be that way. If someone is willing to hear you and listen to you, and you agree to go to the table with someone, be patient with them, allow them to be patient with you, and go into a situation expecting a resolve of uncovering evidence, information, truth, facts, and then just listen. The nerve of me, again, people who do silly stuff, they say, well, nobody's perfect. Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, we all fall short of the glory of God. No one is without fault or without any kind of sin. But, we have to really do better when we know better. And it doesn't make sense to be stubborn, for no reason. Take some deep breaths. And the more we are, aware of this, the more we can see it, because it's out there and it's ugly sometimes. You can actually see it growing on people's shoulders when they're being nasty and mean. And you see it, you want to spray some spray on it, to kill that fungus thing. But I want to encourage you to look for, resolve in chaotic situations, desire peace in your heart, and be okay with what is the truth. And on that note, I'm going to let you go. En la vida real, says Upside Down Smile. Ooh, what's that? Tasha says patience. Christine shows me the eyeballs, and T. Morrow says, what up, though, with the hands. Thank you guys so much if you're watching now, and or if you will watch later. I really appreciate it. There was a time where I used to say, subscribe to my channel. I'm not gonna say it. I'm just gonna say, subscribe to my channel. Anyway, I've got more stuff on the way. I'm kind of getting set up in this temporarily sort of permanent location. I've got some more of my stuff here. You know, I'll be bringing you more stuff. All right, with that being said, have yourself a fantastic evening. I know last week I had an issue. I think I know what's going on. I'm relearning my system here, you know, with what's going on and how to work my own gear. But I'm going to fade this, and then I'm going to play my closing, and then I'm gonna let you go. I love you so much. I really do. And you do as I asked you before and I suggested. Find someone you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it, but mean it and show it. Till the next time, be sweet. Good night.